Good morning, everyone. Yeah, very good morning. So, shall we begin the session? Yes, in the last class we have started with the appendix, or in the last class we have started with the various levels of the appendices. That is how we are going to use appendices, how it is being gathered, and what are the various available resources, or what is the usage of the various resources, what are the various levels of that satisfaction that is used in the appendix number D. That is the levels of the evaluation, and we have studied each and every level in detail in the last class. Each and every note, each and every some levels of the satisfaction or some levels of the evaluation. The first one is the level 1 resources. So whatever the evaluation that is carried out, whatever the resources that is used. So evaluation at the resource level generally includes the monitoring activities to explain the scope of the project. Explain the scope of the project in the sense what are the various activities that is considered to define the scope. What is the main scope? That is in terms of the dollar expended and the staff time required. Whatever the time, whatever the expended requirement that is used with the resource. Last class we have started with the level number 1, that is the resources. What are the various resources that is used? So evaluation is done at the monitoring level. It is done at the resource level that generally take the form that is generally take what are the various resources, what is the monitoring method, or we can say what are the various effects that is used in this resources, and the most common way of doing the careful doing. So reporting this information is accurate. So whatever information that we are passing, that information must be accurate. So whatever the resources, whatever the data that is required, that is very accurate information. So reporting this information is accurate. Then level number 2 is activities. What are the various activities that we have discussed? So what are the various project activities? We can say the project outcome that also requires a monitoring the amount of the services, whatever the amount of the services that is required. Product activities that is delivered during a specified period of the time. So whatsoever the services, whatsoever the product, whatsoever the activity that is delivered during a specified period of time, and keeping track of the information, keeping track of the amount of the activities that is conducted, products developed, or the services that is rendered is a good management technology, is a good management technique that is used. And a common example includes the number of the professional development training delivered. So whatever the number of the training delivered, the number of the classroom visit conducted, number education, that is the activities that we are conducting, or the project activity that is also known as the output activities. Then level number 3 is the participations. Participation is one of the main, we can say, that is known as active engagement, active involvement. So participation is considered the active involvement by the targeted participants in the education project. Although the recording attendance is one of the method of monitoring the amount of the time spent, and it does not convey how active the participants were, but it conveys what are the various participation level that led to the desired outcomes, and the more engaged or the active the participants are in the project, the more likely they will be to make the needed changes. Whatever the changes, whatever the participation activities, whatever the criteria that is taken out for the participation, whatever the engagement activity, whatever the participant that is used in the project. And the keeping record of intensity, duration, and breadth of the, or the breadth of the participation, or the breadth of the participation are full of the, or are the part of the monitoring at the participation level. Whatsoever the participation, whatsoever the intensity, whatsoever the duration, and the breadth of the participation that are parts of the monitoring at the participation level, and the intensity is the amount of the time required. And now, what is the meaning of these three terms? So first one is intensity, that is the amount of the time required or the participants spend in a project or the activity over a given period of the time, that is measured in terms of the hours per day, days per week, week per year. And duration is the summarizes the history of the attendance. What is the history of the attendance? Whether the participants is new to the project or have been attended for some time. Then breathe refers to the various activities. Breathe in the sense, what are the various activities of the participants that attend within and across the project. And participants that are active in multiple projects may be more opt to achieve desired project outcome. So they are seek to, or they are keen to achieve, they are opt to achieve the desired project outcome that is also available within the participation, that is also used in the participation, that is level number 3. Then level number 4 is the reactions. Whatsoever the reactions, whatsoever the data that is required. So that reaction means the audience immediate positive or the negative feedback. We can say reaction in the sense we can say the feedback. What is the main feedback that is going on? So that is the audience immediate positive or the negative response to the project or the learning. That is also known as the feedback. So this is the most common level of the outcome evaluation and often refers to as a smile sheets, and these evaluation ask the participants to rate their perceptions about the quality and the impact of the specific project or the activity, and this can also range from a handful of the questions regarding the project delivery, regarding the facility and usefulness of the forms that ask the participants to rate all aspects of the activity, whatsoever the aspect of the activity, whatsoever the data that is used with the activity. And there is a reaction evaluation that is also considered, that is also one of the important tool to measure the participant satisfaction. What is the participant satisfaction that is used, and they are relatively easy to administer, tabulate and summarizes in a result format or result report. So they are easy to administer, they are easy to tabulate and also summarize in a result format, in a result report, in a result data. That is level number 4, reaction. And there are multiple example questions to assess the reactions. What are the various multiple questions? So first one is attending the workshop was at a poor use of my time. So this is at the poor use of my time. That also ranges from 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and the good use of my time is a level number 5. So if this ranges from 1 to the 5. Then length of the workshop in relation to the material presented. What is the length of the workshop? Length of the workshop in the sense, what is the duration of the workshop? That is also carrying out, or that is also varied from 1 to the 5. 1 is just long, too long, and 5 is too short. Then what are the various workshop facility? That is inadequate, that is adequate, or the great. Then what were the strength and the weaknesses of the workshop? So what is the main strength and the weaknesses of the workshop? So evaluation at the KASA level measures whether participating in the project increases the audience knowledge, attitude, skills, and aspiration towards the issues. So whatsoever the aspiration knowledge, whatsoever the participating data, that also increases with the participant knowledge, that also increases with the aspirations, with the issues, with the KASA level projects. And a number of the different instruments or the tools can be designed to measure what project participants have been learned. So what is going to learn, why we are going to learn, or what are the various participants level that is used, that is available in the in these activity. We can say whether the project activities or whatsoever the project participants have learned. And before and after the retest, simulation, demonstration, or other in-class methods allows also the instructors or the project designers to determine if the knowledge of the skills identified in the objective are learned, whether this is going to use with the skills, whether it is going to use with the knowledge, that is also identifying in the objectives. And it is also important to remember that regardless of this method that is used to determine the project outcome at the KASA level, the test must relate directly to the course objective. So this also relate to the course objective that is also carried out with the KASA level, that is also used with the course objective. So level number 5 is the KASA, that also increases the knowledge, attitude, skills, aspirations. KASA full form is, or abbreviation of the KASA is a knowledge, attitude, skills, and aspiration. So these are the 4 terms that is used with the KASA: knowledge, attitude, skills, and aspiration. And these instruments are customized for every we can say the instruction activity or the project, and must reflect the conditions of the specific object or the real-time object or the real-time application that is used in the day-to-day learning. So whatsoever the resources, whatsoever the instrument that is used, that are customized for each and every instrumental activity or the project, that is each and every project is customized as per the KASA levels and must also reflect the conditions of the specific job or real world applications of the learning. What is the real world applications? What are the specific job that is used with the application of the learning? And it is also important to remember that KASA evaluations also measures the level of the knowledge or the skills of the participant at the time the test is administered. So whatever the time, whatever the measures, whatever the KASA evaluation that also used with the level of the knowledge or the skills that is used with the test, whatever the test that is administered, whatever the test that is being scheduled over the evaluation method. And unless the instruments are administered as a part of the longitudinal evaluation design. So unless the methods are designed with the longitudinal or evaluation designs, they do not measure the long-term knowledge or the skill retention. Whatever the long-term knowledge, whatever the skill retention that is not fulfilled or that is not gathered with the evaluation techniques, and they are not an indication, or they are not an indication of how these will be applied to a real world scenario. Whatever the real world scenario, whatever the data that is applied, that is not used with a real world scenario, that is one of the indication how these will be applied to a real world scenarios. So KASA level instruments are customized for each and every activity or the project that is used for the specific job, that is used for the real world applications of the learning. Now, example questions to access the KASA. What are the various example questions that is used with accessing the KASA? First question is, what was the most important thing that you learned by participating in the workshop? So what is the most important thing, or what was the most important thing that you learned that you are getting by participating in the workshop? What are the various ways by which it is worked? The next one is list 3 benefits of an estuary. What are the 3 benefits of estuary? Then true or false? An estuary is the same as a bay. So it is same as a bay that is used with the important thing that is used with the participating in the workshop. These are the various level instruments that are customized for every instrumental or for every instructional activity or the project, and also must reflect the conditions of the specific job or the real world applications. Then level of number 5 is over, that is the KASA. Then level number 6 is the practice or the behavior change. So whatsoever the practice, whatsoever the behavior that is used, or that behavior will be changed with the practice, we can say. So questions at the behavior or the practice level measures whether the participant has been able to use the new knowledge learned and the skills that is acquired during a specific education project. So whatever the question that is ready, that is available, that is used at the behavior or the practices level, that also measures whether the participants have been able to use the new knowledge learned and the skills that is acquired during a specific education project, during a specific a normal project that is used with the with the skill that is used with the specific education projects. So whatsoever the scenarios, whatsoever the data that is used, so that data will be prepared, the data will be used with the various instruments, with various, we can say the evaluation levels, with various instruments that is used to collect the data. And each and every instrument have different strength and the weaknesses. So whatsoever the instrument that we are using, so every instrument has some strength, have some weaknesses that we are going to use. Or we can say what are the various activities that is available with the data that is used with the various activities. So level number 6 is the practice of the behavior change. So whatsoever the practice is, whatsoever the data that is gathered, so that practice, that data gathering requirement, that is level number 6, that is the practice of the behavior change. So whatsoever the practice, whatsoever the data that is available, so that data will be used, that data will be available with the practices, that data will be available with the data records. So whatever the questions that is used at the behavior or the practices level, that also measures whether the participant have been able to use the new knowledge, or the skills that is required are very relevant with the new knowledge, that are the skills required during a specific education project. Then determining also the behavior changes, that is also one of the more complex than accessing at the reactions and KASA levels, in that it also requires contacting participants after they have been they have a time to apply the new knowledge and the skills. So they have a time to apply the new knowledge and the skills that is required. And with other application, with other evaluation levels, many different instruments can be used to collect the data. There are multiple instrument level that is used to collect the data, that have some instrument that have some strength and the weaknesses. So whatsoever the strength, whatsoever the weaknesses that is available, that is used with the practice or the behavior change. And the instruments also includes the surveys, interviews, focus group. So that also includes the surveys, whatever the surveys, whatever the scenario that we are using, whatsoever the interviews, whatsoever the focus group, whatsoever the observation that is used with this one. So instrument that includes the surveys, that includes the interviews, that includes the focus group, observation, and the written skill. So this is available over here. This is available in this line, that what are the various instruments that is used. So that includes surveys, that includes the interviews, that includes the focus group, observation, and the written document review. And regardless of the instrument, the question should target specific skill and a knowledge area. Whatsoever the target, whatsoever the question that will be used, so that it will be used with a specific skill and the knowledge area, and ask the participants if and how they are applied, or if and how they have been applied what they have learned during the education project to these situations. That means what is the main scenario that is being offered, how it is being gathered, and what the participant needs if they have been applied with what they learned about the organization, about the education. So they are using with the various situations, with the various scenarios that focus on the relevance of the project, whether participants have been used with the material, whether participants have been used as a data during the learning, provided during the learning experience, how new knowledge have been applied, and the examples of ways new skills have been applied. So that means what are the various skills that have been applied, what are the various ways by which it is applied over the data. And measuring the application of the new knowledge and the skills learned is becoming more accepted as a part of as an aspect of the evaluation. That is, whatsoever the knowledge, whatsoever the data that is acquired, so that is used with the new knowledge, that is used with the aspect of the evaluation. And it is important to know not only that the participant understand the material during the learning process, but they have been, or they were then able to go back to their homes, communities, or the jobs and apply it. And this level of evaluation provides evidence of whether the transfer of the learning has been occurred or not. So whether the transfer of the learning has been used or not. And it is much more powerful to justify a project by demonstrating what the participant use or what the participant needs, and what is the information, or what is the information that has been gathered, what are the various number of participants that like the project, that use the project, that is used with the various data. And many decision makers also are also now demanding this level of the evaluation to account for the resources, whatsoever the data that is used for the resources spent during the or educating the target audience. So whatsoever the projected, whatsoever the evaluation method that is used with the target audience, that is used with educating the target audience. Now, example question to assess practice of the behavior change. What are the various example questions? So, first is, have you applied the skills you learned at the workshop to your current object? So, whatsoever that you learned, whatsoever the skills, whatsoever the knowledge that you learned at the workshop, that is practically implemented at your project or not? That is one of the question. Have you implemented the action plan that you developed at the workshop? So have you implemented what's the action plan that you have implemented? So that plan will be developed in a scenario based data. That plan will be developed with the action plan that you developed at the workshop. Please describe one way that you have used the material. So what are the various ways by which you can use the material in the past 6 months? So whatsoever the data that you have applied, whatsoever the data that is applied over here, so whether that will be implemented in a practical way, whether that data will be implemented in a practical way in the last month, whether the material that will be used, or that will be supplied in the last 6 months or the past 6 months, and describe one of the main component of your action plan. One of the main component, whatsoever the component that is used. So describe one component of that action plan that will be taken out, that will be used, that will be implemented fully. We can say fully in the sense whatsoever the implementation technique that will be gathered together. Next question is, have there been any barriers that is in applying the information? So whatsoever the barriers that is used in information technology that is learned during the workshop, So have there any barriers that is in applying the information that is learned during the workshop? What is the main barrier? If there is a barrier, then please explain your answer. Explain your answer in the sense whatsoever the data that is required with answering the questions. So this is the level number 6, that is what are the various participants or what are the various factors of the behavior change. The level of number 7 is SEE changes. SEE changes in the sense whatsoever the data, whatsoever the information that is acquired with the SEE changes. So whenever we are evaluating, so evaluating the impacts of the project on the social, economic or the environmental conditions, that is means basing the degree to which KASA and the behavior changes have affected the environment. So whenever we are using the KASA, that is the knowledge, aspiration, skills, aspirations, or knowledge, attitude, skills, aspiration, so that is used with the behavior change that have affected the environment or the audience lives. And there is a constant pressure within the agencies to demonstrate the efficiency and the effectiveness of their project. What is the efficiency of the project? What is the effectiveness of the project? In order to actually conclude that a project has been or has had its desired effect, the participants have to successfully apply the new skills or the knowledge. So they are successfully apply the new skills, new knowledge, and there is a new option for the new skills. There is a new option for the desired effect, that is a new knowledge or the skills or the attitude. That is application of the new skills and the knowledge leads to the desired result or the impact. What is the desired result? What is the main impact that is being gathered that is used on the audience on the or the environment? So what is the main impact that is we can say that will be available on the audience or the environment, and this level of the long-term feedback, this level in the sense this criteria of the long-term feedback is becoming increasingly important, particularly when the priorities are being set out and or when the decisions to continue or discontinue the project has been made. So whether we are going to continue the project, whether we are going to discontinue the project, that is also used with the priorities that is also being set out, or when the decisions are to be used with the continuation of the project that is being made. The next is measuring the SEE conditions is typically feasible only for the large-scale project designed to produce specific results. So whatsoever the projects, whatsoever the data that is being acquired, so that is being gathered out, that is being taken out for the project, that is being taken out for the resources, whatsoever the resources that is being gathered. So in that case also the evaluator will need to focus on the people who experience facilitations conducted by the project participants, that also required that the data collection must be at least one step removed from the initial data. So whatsoever the initial data, whatsoever the initial requirement participants in the data, that must be one step removed. And because it can be quite difficult to isolate the effect, so it can be very feasible to isolate the effect of the project, this level of evaluation can be complex and is not very common. So this level of the evaluation can be very complex and is not very common for this one. An example question to assess the practice or the behavior change. What are the various evaluation questions? What are the various example questions? So after training on the estuary restoration, how many areas or how many acres of the estuary have been successfully restored? How many acres in the sense how many land or how much we can say the space acres of the estuary have been successfully restored? Then to what extent? So after giving the training to the workshop, to what extent have you incorporated ocean literacy principles into your curriculum? So to what extent in the sense, to what data, to what scenario have you incorporated the ocean literacy in the sense, to what extent that have been incorporated with the marine effect, with the ocean literacy principle to into your curriculum in the sense in your project. Have student test scores increased as a result of incorporating ocean literacy principles? So this is also a question whether the test scores that is been implemented, whether the test score that has been increased, that is also used with the incorporating the effects, incorporating the ocean literacy principle in your curriculums. So if it is not at all, this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So one is low, not at all. We can say low in the sense nothing. not at all, and extensively means very high, very high, very high. So we have finished with each and every level of the evaluation in the appendix number D. Now, anyone, any doubts in these level of evaluation? Anyone? Anything that you want to ask in these criteria, in these sessions, in these level of the evaluations? So if you have any doubt, then please ask the doubt so that your concepts are clear, so that your thoughts are clear regarding the assignment, regarding anything that you want to ask. Okay, so if there's no doubt, then we will meet tomorrow with a new topic, with a new concept, that's a glossary. I think glossary is not one of the, well, yeah, glossary is very important because these contains very, we can say, the selected object